And welcome back to the Quake Pro League, where we're slotted in for our second series of the day. Now, this time around, we're going to do something a little bit different. This segment is known as Zoot's History, because I know you're excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the names, I was like, this seems familiar, and it's really familiar, and I'm sure for a lot of people more than just myself, these guys have been playing together since 2006 in Quake 4 finals. These are legends that have been going through since pretty much Wenger's entire lifetime. I think he was born then, basically.
Right.
So the fact that these guys are playing in a QPL match now, they're getting the points on the go, and they're going to LAN, most likely. Well, they're definitely going to LAN. What am I talking about? This is going to be insane. I'm really curious to see what kind of champions that we've got between these guys, what kind of bans that we have, because there's just so much legacy behind this matchup in general. So it's not that much history. They've just been playing for a goddamn long time with each other, and they're heroes to many people in the Quake community.
Well, there you go. Pillars of the scenes. Well, let's delve into one of them that, of course, everyone will be familiar with first. Tox, the man that is known for the sickening movement, the sickening rails, the sickening good looks. Let's see some of the damage he's been doing over the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, felt like I just introduced him yesterday. Wait, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, what is there to say? These highlights, they speak for themselves of this just abnormally strong rails. He was absolute powerhouse back in Quake 4. He was virtually indestructible. The only thing that really got in the way of him, and possibly some even more titles, is a young guy av3k towards the back end of the sort of that part of history. But yeah, this guy's just an absolute phenom.
Oh yeah, he is a fiend when it comes to dealing decimation on the server. He can do it with no matter what's in his hands, but if it's a rail, then you're probably going to have a bad day. But his opponent, Zoot, why don't you tell me a little bit about av3k?
I mean, some people call him the Bulldog. This guy, he does what the hell he wants. He's the prince to us, and he's as good as he is pretty, because he's got some stunning, aggressive plays. He's all up in your face. I mean, it's av3k, for Christ's sake. The guy also his own phenom. I'm just excited to get the game going at the moment, Jackie.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk anymore. I just want to watch the standing game.
You want to witness the absolute decimation.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful matchup between them, and I really hope that we're going to see some of the sort of old mind games and them playing into each other's. Because they would have built up reads over each other for well over a decade now. So I wonder how that translates in the sort of modern age of Quake.
It will be very, very interesting. It's also especially the fact now that we have the added nuance with the fact that this is such a weighted game in the sense of you need points now. We're at a very critical point in the season, right? So you've got all of the previous history behind them, all of the fact that when these two players clash normally, it's just explosive and there's fireworks, but the added fact that they are playing for keeps when it comes to the points today. So we know those claws are going to be out in show. Yeah,
completely. And I know that we had some champion matchups shown already, but again, I'm very keen because I'm curious about the bans. I should know this already. But Slash and Strog is something that's very viable for both of them. However, I haven't been seeing av3k adopting the crouch sliding quite as much as Tox. Tox, that's been like his unique selling point, right, for him in Quake Champions, because he's adopted those champions better than I'd say everybody else. I think the main terminology the main things you'd have said as a 2v2 player when we had lots of 2v2 last year is like, well, if Tox is playing Slash, then GG.
We can have a look.
How do we play against
as well? Because we do actually have those picks and bans.
Okay.
Let's see if this appeases you.
Right, so Galena's out straight away, but I'm looking at the crouch sliders, and Slash and Strog is going to be played by Tox. av3k not looking to bank on any of them himself. I find that a little bit surprising, but at the same time I did say it's not something he's really got to grips with as much in Quake Champions. He's going to be using lots of VQ3 movement, he's got Doom with the double jump, and we're also going to get some air control from Tox over on Molten Falls. Solag versus Eisen is again a very interesting matchup, both seen as strong champions. But to look at the champion lineup to see who I think is going to win, I favour Tox, I think, actually, overall. But the question is his head up to the game? Or is av3k going to be able to sort of build that momentum a little bit more effectively? Because Tox, I don't think everyone's looked at Tox's games this season and thought, yeah, this is the Tox that we know. We see little snippets of it, scattered around all over the place, but it's not really, you don't really tend to see a full Tox game all in one chunk.
That's true. It seems to come and go when we actually get superstar Tox, or just sort of the 50% power, which is a shame, because hopefully we get to see some of those moments getting into it. But obviously you're going up against the Polish Punisher, someone that can do so much damage when he's on form. Also, off the back of that video, that does confirm our suspicion. Galena was first banned there, meaning of all 4 of the European series that are played today, she was either first pick or first ban.
Yes. So percentage-wise, I think Galena was picked up and all day yesterday as well. I'm not going to do the maths on stream again, but that's a high 90s% that Galena is just consistently being used. And I think that Aizen is actually following on the same trend, and I think when people are watching how dominantly Aizen's being used, I think it's only going to make people want to play him even more.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Aizen's one of those heroes that when you actually see people playing him correctly in a way where you can deny so much with that turret placement, even we have some good shows in the Sparty-Garpy match of how to use it more effectively in certain scenarios. So it's interesting, right? We're seeing a whole lot of nuances changing over the course of this season, but here we are. The matchup that I know you've been excited for, you've been salivating over, and now we're ready to kick off.
Let's do it, ladies and gents. We are on Tox to start with. He's on Slash going up versus the Doom of av3k. Heavy in hand, rockets and rails, and is he going to be able to find those pixels straight away to lay out those 90 damages? It's not going to be so much about Tox actually, av3k, just good tribal work, zoning Tox out a little bit, and Tox is going to have to, okay, can't follow up with it, but he does manage to get some plasma damage, but av3k just perseveres through the corner, and again, just so typical of him, he's just, there's a moment, I can push through this, it's a bit of a risk, but I trust in myself.
Tribal to deny the push coming across. He is going to be able to find himself towards the heavy, so at least having the advantage of his stack. But Tox breezing around, looking like an absolute race car right now as he yeets across the map. Coming up to the minute mark, he's got the high ground to play with. av3k going towards the back door, but it's suspected by Tox. Near misses on the rockets as well, Zoot. So they call this one quits for now.
Oh, he can't even get himself onto the mega health because Tox is just so punishing with that weapon. And now it's going to open up the map for Tox, mega health in hand. Now it's going to be heavy too. I think he's going to work his way around the weapons shortly. He's got to decide between rocket ammo and getting the rail straight away. And then spots that av3k is lurking up there.
The movement from Tox is just so wonderful to witness. The fact that he's fragging out as well, gets the follow-up frag instantly there onto av3k, and just makes quick work of him with that LG.
That LG was ridiculous again. He's got himself the mega health, and he's just walking into the plasma. He's like, I'm going to do even more damage to you now. Tox looking fantastic.
So smooth. Everything's coming together right now for Tox. He's looking like a big dog at the minute. As av3k, incredibly low, has to grab himself that light armor to barely stay alive, but he won't be alive for long. Rocket to the chest, blows him to bits. There is pieces of av3k all over Awoken.
He's managed to find himself that rail for free because av3k dropped it on his body. Something that Tox didn't have yet. This has been good lightning gun from av3k. Nice little double jump. Snags. I can't even talk. Snags the kill. I wasn't expecting av3k to be able to do that, actually. That was really difficult to do. And these rockets, again, we're just seeing the fluency on every single weapon from Tox. It's normally LG and rail, and the rockets are a bit further behind, despite being very strong, but everything is at full force.
The movement for me, though, is what makes it so lovely to watch him glide around the map as he opens it up with the initiation rail. Wanted to put him to bed with one, but couldn't quite connect it. Lower on the stack now, has to back off. Scavenges whatever he can find to aid himself. A near miss as the rockets are raining through the sky close towards him. av3k trying to fight, wants to play with confidence, pushes in, going a bit headstrong, but he's taking damage back through the hurty hole. No kills going to be coming through out of those shenanigans as Tox does back off for the meantime, but this is not slowing down. The movement is outrageous.
I mean, there's been some hot combos that Tox has been looking for. He's very low there, has a chance. Okay, well, he's got a small chance to regain a bit of stack. Heavy not being up for a while is slightly annoying. av3k gets a late mega health. And Tox actually needs to get out of here. Heavy's up soon, but he can't actually afford to stick around on it. He's going to do it anyway. av3k a little bit late allows him to do this. That's the mental games coming in once again. av3k is very, very low, but Tox giving respect. Gonna find the rail through the teleporter. Just drop back down for it. And that's a sort of minimal risk play there, because it's so hard for av3k to respond even if the rail misses.
Tox Still hungering for more. Licking his lips as he's already got 6, but he's not happy with that. Oh, nearly the frag onto av3k as well. Drops him incredibly low. Wanting to lining up with a rail, will try his luck with a rocket, but a rail response is what's better. More rails than underground right now, as he is showing where you need to mine the gap, Zoo.
I mean, this is the Tox that we want to see, right? He's been having these moments in previous series where, okay, we're going to get another kill quite possibly here. The LG from av3k. Oh, there's a rocket right at the back end of the fight. It's 8-2. Mega health coming out. av3k still hasn't got a bad position, and the machine gun works out for him. Still plenty of time in this series to make amends to the scoreline, but it's difficult to catch Tox when he's moving so fast around the map.
It's just wild how quickly he's navigating right now, constantly keeping these fights going on. There is no time for av3k to do anything. You can't scavenge, you can't get weapons. It's just fight after fight after fight. At this point, though, finds himself the heavy. Has the biggest stack advantage he's had in quite some time. Wants to line it up with the rail, being teased to fully commit in.
Nice.
Instead, has to try and push in with the LG. Does win out on that fight, and now brings it back to more of a manageable spot. He's 4 frags away, and he has Mega.
I love that he didn't commit to the rail shot previously, and that he just managed to get closer and closer without taking more damage to seal the deal. Tox is close. He may have briefly missed where Tox was going, but he's recovering nicely. av3k's still in this, absolutely, by the way. Tox has been looking sublime, but he's made av3k look briefly mediocre, but he's right back in this.
Finally slowing it down ever so slightly. Tox previously was just going absolutely wild at every given opportunity. Now that things are getting a little bit close for comfort, he slows it down. Instead, tries to burn some extra time off the clock before the next fight goes on. av3k will be the one to look to try and start things here and be the wicked fire starter. 5 rockets in his inventory to play with. Doesn't want to pick any up, it seems. But he does have a way bigger stack suit.
I think he knows where Tox is now. He heard that noise over before, but he's not committing to a jump because it would mean Tox can get onto the Mega Health easily. He almost did just then. He's going to chase through the Plasma Trail. It's going to work out for him. Smart rotations by av3k, and Tox just picks slightly the wrong moment to move. Maybe even a rocket jump in a moment. Heavy's up in a second, almost hitting the fringe of Tox.
Surprised Tox even wanted to go for the reface there, considering how low he was. He was in a really dangerous territory in terms of his HP. Oh my goodness, the shotgun coming out! It looked like maybe it could have been absolutely glorious. Instead, though, it's another kill for av3k, and this is where things are really getting awkward for Tox now. He's so close. He's in a position where he could potentially tie this up, but he doesn't have any LG ammo. This is going to be rough for him in this firefight. Close quarters combat is not something he wants to go in on, but you know what? He will, and he'll come out on top. The HMG to the face as he slaughters Tox.
What a switch there. av3k almost got entirely off guard. Managed to land a direct rocket. He'll still want to push on. This is not railable. Tox trying to heal up and quickly plasma trail over towards the light, but his output is not enough. We've got Mega Health yet again. Tox does get his way onto it. Now av3k's got to flee a little bit. Control is being heavily contested at the moment, and you know that Tox is keen to get into a lightning gun fight. Oh my god, he's still chasing. He's still got some momentum to carry. Rail is going to miss from av3k, trying to flick one very quickly, but it's the machine gun of Tox that's going to put him back into the lead.
Dude, this is ridiculous. You told me to expect a grand final level matchup, and that's just exactly what we're getting on the cards right now. Tox finally gets himself a frag lead once again, but it's merely by 1, and you can see the tempo is in full force. Rather than trying to take it slow, he wants to go in on this. He is hungry to fight, but av3k has got the control at this point. He has a higher stack to play with, and he has the decimation, the rockets that are landing, tagging up his opposition, but he's nearly dead. He's so low. The full commit from Tox with the LG, tries to strike, but he can't hit twice in the same place. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Absolutely wild. It's been such a monumental comeback from av3k up until the last minute or so. They were going to get a nice little slide into rail. I think he's heard exactly where av3k is. Can he hit the rail shot? There's only 20 health left, and it's a follow-up. 10-8 now. Still 2 minutes to go, though, Jackie. How have we got so much time left?
This is ridiculous. This is absolutely wild. The purest level of aggression I feel like we've seen. The ferocity and the atrocity that is being caused is unparalleled into this matchup, Zoo.
And av3k is just desperately trying to keep up with it. As long as he's got the stack, he seems to be relying on the health and armor a little bit more than Tox. Tox is just, I don't know. He's just being himself so much at the moment, I feel like.
LG initiation. This is on the rail, uncharacteristic considering the sheer amount he's been able to hit all day. Wants to burn his way through that overstack health that av3k's been able to pick up off the back of the Mega. Tries to at least slap him down slightly and not make it as stark of a contrast. But av3k is the one that has to fight the good fight right now. A near miss on the rail. The final 60 seconds, Zoot. He's 2 kills behind, but we know how these games go, and it's not over yet.
That's actually a really, really big shot from av3k. He's managed to secure full control. Now it's about chasing down the slash. This game is not over yet. But he's got to try and close the gap. Tox is going to be looking more at the defensive rockets, more so than the LG and rail, unless a situation presents itself. But you can see that's it. It's hit rocket, back off. The thing is, he's only got 3 rockets left, but he knows exactly where av3k's coming from. Very obvious route that av3k picks there, and that's killed so much time. There's a rotation of items coming up. av3k's going to get himself the heavy, I think, but he needs to rush. He needs to take every single risk he possibly can. And there's so much speed available to Tox, it looks like he's going to use that to get away and retain this lead.
Yeah, I think at this point he's been able to escape the jaws of death that are coming towards him in the face of av3k. He should win this one and close it down with a 2-frag lead. 10-8 is going to be the scoreline. Tox will be the winner, but my goodness, that one was a nail biter.
It's emotional there. I'm a bit sweaty after that one.
That was crazy.
Yeah, what a game. Some phenomenal rails that we've been seeing from Tox. We see 25% rail from av3k, but of course you're going versus a sliding slash. He's going at 100 miles an hour. Still had some great damage output. And the comeback that he made to get it to 8-8, and then Tox had to go into his next level, his next form, in order to get the lead back into his side. Yeah, just unbelievable game between these two, where we really saw the sort of the fast-paced nature that we can get between two players who are innately quite aggressive, or comfortable being aggressive, should I say.
It made it so fun to watch because it was the fact that literally for the first sort of 4 or 5 minutes of the game, Tox was just gliding around the map. At every opportunity he could, he would fight av3k, and it's so nice to see because he was constantly pushing with this level of power, knowing, okay, av3k's going to just respawn, I'll go for the fight. Not only am I going to play aggressively, but I will still control the pickups, which, you know, I mean, if you can pull that off, then I'll be damned, because it was wonderful to witness.
And what I feel like I saw from those games is that both players are also having so much fun with it too.
Yeah.
Regardless of who won or lost. That was such a sick kill, by the way, from Tox. They just seemed that they had a blast because it was really raw fragging power. It was as if they were trying to just out-aim each other as well at points, like who can get the better damage. And we saw an entire frag movie worth of kills there throughout 10 minutes.
That was one metal game. Right? I think that's probably the fairest way to describe it, right? Because there was so much that would have left you headbanging in just pure awe off the back of what we saw.
And you know, the only good thing is now that we actually have more. It'll just make me sadder when we actually finish this entire series. But, you know, let's look at the bright side. Let's look at the great things that we've got. We've got another 2 maps of these guys guaranteed. And we've now got the Strog that is going to be played by Tox. So more crouch sliding is coming your way,
which is beautiful as well. That's a treat for us, and it should be exciting to see how that goes down, because map 1 as a small taster, as an appetizer, I think that just has given us everything.
Is that just the appetizer?
Wanted. I think so.
Is that not the main course?
We've got 2 more maps soon.
Okay, right, main course. So that's to say that this one's going to be big.
Oh yeah, and then we'll get the dessert.
Okay.
But yeah.
But what's the biggest one for you? Because it
probably would be the main, right?
Okay, yeah.
So technically, map 2 right here, because I mean this decides whether or not if it's going to be a 3-0 or a 2-1, really, when you think about it.
It's very decisive for multiple reasons, and we're going to be jumping into the map. Right about now, we're on Blood Run. Such a great map for both players, actually. And they've both got mobile champions, so I feel like that kind of defensive play that you can get sometimes when you've got a 2 or 3 frag lead, I'm expecting that to be a lot harder to execute defensive play, and in turn they will have more aggression because they'll feel like they have to assert themselves on the map just a bit more.
Well, we saw enough dominance on Awoken that I feel like they could definitely be busting some out here. A slower start. Pika going to be making the first move as it glides in. av3k wants none of that. He is not interested, as he'll turn hightail and bolt out of there. Fires off some warning rockets as well in case Tox is coming towards him. But Tox right now is just roaming around and starting to collect those pickups. He's claimed himself that Mega.
Yeah, av3k's comfortable with all the weapons that he has. And he's just waiting center map. Items aren't up for a while, so it's all about securing that information. So until really the first frag occurs, there's no need to go too nuts. Avik wants to get himself the Mega Health. He'll get it, won't be punished by Tri-Bolt, but he has to watch out for him. He steps a little bit too close, and Tox wisely just continues spamming out. You want to have full zone control of that area so you can get that heavy safely. And now he steps back.
Both of them really taking a slow approach to this one.
Feels like a different matchup almost compared to last map, right? It's two totally different players, but this is exactly what Blood Run calls for. Especially when you're 0-0. This is how you've got to play the game, and I think... Oh, hold on to that thought. Avik pushes in, and Tox is still just sitting there with the lightning gun ready and waiting, and he goes, cheers for that, mate. I'll take that any day. Oh, we've got an orb right in. One rocket misses, but there's a lot of nail damage coming out. Avik's not done badly, but look at the reactions on Tox.
That was lovely. That was actually so well choreographed. It was like a fighting scene from a movie. Just the consistent rocket, still confident when he would have been sweating bullets with low HP, but lands the rail. It's a great way to get the opening lead and continue to add to it as well. And he still wants more, chipping away at Avik. Not one, not two, but 3 rails, one after another onto Avik to put him into an early grave. And he isn't done yet. This is looking like old school Tox once again. As soon as he starts getting that momentum, he puts no brakes on the pain train.
It's quite tricky for him to get up towards the heavy, especially if Avik's going to hang around here. He's got the orb himself. It's just come back up. He doesn't hit the rail. Rocket's coming through. Now the peak. It will get railed down quickly. The Mega's not up for a while. There is a light. But he was still railable at that stage. Avik is trying to negotiate any amount of health so that he can get above that 90 HP threshold. Very scary for both the players. Rocket is going to do damage, but Avik cannot find a rail shot yet again. It's all about Tox's rails, and that's the big difference, I think, between the players at the moment. Tox has been so much more reliable with that weapon. Avik has got an orb to work with. Surprised that he's not using it. He has it now to get over to some health bubbles. Tox is trying to flee a little bit, but a 4-0 lead, even on a map with 2 very mobile champions, it's still quite big.
Oh, little taps. Tox, though, finally much worse for wear as he limps his way out of there. Has to concede the Mega over, meaning that Avik now in a much better position in terms of his stack. Whilst Tox is a little bit isolated. Does hear him coming though off the back of the audio cues. Can reposition. Has Pika to play with as well if he wants to whip it out to either scout or be a massive nuisance with it. He's only got 5 rockets, 5 rails as well. He'll try and use one of them, goes instantly in with the Pika to try and get the plasma shots across. Will soften up Avik slightly, but it's still going to be such a hard fight unless you can land those monstrous rails and live up to his namesake. There's the second. He still needs the third, but Avik will not give him that opportunity, meaning the Mega is free to take.
Very, very strange from Avik not taking that Mega Health. He kind of dodged away from it, and it looked like he just wanted to minimize the risks completely. There's 2 major items. Okay, never mind. Avik is going to be able to get himself onto the heavy. LG, he's got to try and win this fight. The health bombs have been taken. Tox misses the rail, looking for the rocket and switching weapons. Avik gets himself on the board, but how hard did he have to work for that?
The fact is as well, there was probably a timeline there where somehow he hits that miraculous rail when he flicked up, and it's not appropriate, not on Twitch, but let's see how this one carries on. Avik here, finally with his first frag, looking to try and make it his second as well. Tri-Bolt in play. He says he'll be taking the Mega tonight though, as he'll dine down to put himself in a better position in terms of the health. We're coming up to the 5-minute mark though, Zoot, and there is a 3 frag difference between these two right now.
Avik takes so much time that Tox gets a totally different position to try and punish on heavy. Misses the rail shot though, so this is actually quite big news for Avik. Suddenly the rotation of items is, well, halfway through, and he's in a comfortable spot. Does hit the rail shot. This is the kind of stuff that we need from Avik if he is going to be making it back into this map. And he needs rockets urgently, and it's quite a good spot because he might find Tox over here. He does land a rail of his own, but Avik's still stacking up a little bit. He has got the orb. He's going to go through it, actually. Tox was still trying to punish him, but will still die. 2-4. It's getting closer. Like with Awoken, Tox gets an early lead, but Avik is chasing back.
Thing is, with plays like that as well, you can see that Avik's starting to get ballsy. And when he gets like that and he starts playing confident, that is really where he's going to be at his finest. The battle for the Mega continues once more, fires out the rockets. Tox realizes that he can try and time it well though, grabs it and doesn't take that much damage. Nothing that the Mega won't try and negate anyway. Both of them into a good position in terms of their stack, fairly equal. The pre-fire rocket comes around the corner, the rail barely missing, but it's actually going to be the nail gun to finish him. Tox puts him down.
That's unbelievable. He managed to get that nail damage so quickly as the orb was coming out. Avik finds a great rocket. The follow-up's not terrible either. So despite being down an extra frag, he keeps landing this phenomenal chip damage. There's a rail that he really wants, but Tox finally gets a punishing shot himself. Mega in hand though for av3k. Railgun now too. Tox is the one who has to go back to a slightly more defensive stance.
Running low on ammunition here. But it will not matter if he can land the shots with the rails. That's where he really gives himself an edge. The near miss coming up though, that could have obliterated him. It was incredibly close to impacting directly onto his face. Time ticking by, starting to run low. That will put the pressure onto av3k soon, and he will initiate. Goes all in. Dire Orb to try and bait him out. Tox delves back, tries to escape, and at least gets some extra health for the meantime.
So quick reactions from av3k. He'll be able to jump up and get heavy. But he's got to start thinking a bit more about how he's going to chase for a kill, and less about how he's controlling the map. I don't think there's been a huge focus on the items. He's always after something with Tox, but now he's got to kind of let go of those items even more. Tox is just going to chill here, actually. Now he is taking that defensive game. But you can see how, instead of it sometimes being 3 or 4 minutes into the game in another matchup, it's now in the last sort of 3.5 minutes. Because it's too risky otherwise. So got heavy to mega up soon. The orb has recently been used, which is a slight trouble. av3k's really got to make sure he uses the orb to close the gap, because if he doesn't, he's just a normal VQ3 champion, and you can't catch up with a crouch sliding Strog. The jump. Oh, it's a direct rocket. That is painful. He's getting rid of resources. I like what av3k did with the upper light. Because Tox is going to find it hard to get to 150. His only chance to do it is on this side of the map, but this is where av3k is focusing on. Ooh. Rocket jump up. That rocket misses.
It's a nice movement. Walking straight round, trying to bait him into a trap. We'll get the first rocket off Tox. Low, though. 71 HP is all he has to play with. Luckily, going to bolster that defense slightly with the pickups. He grabs av3k, comes flying into action, though. Wanting to punish him. So limited on ammunition across the board. He's barely got anything to punish with. Drops down, roaming through. A minute on the clock, and he still needs so many more frags. I don't think it's going to be possible if it carries on like this. Whoa. As he can never get into a position to find the kills. Finally, an opportunity arises, but he still can't put Tox down.
Oh my god, it takes so much out of him though. He loses a lot of stack, and he's got to try and convert somehow. Tox has managed to pick up some weapons. His stack is double that of av3k, so heavy is needed to begin with. One thing for Tox though is he's running out of weaponry. Nice denial of the light. Has found him.
Ooh. I mean, you know what? If he does it here in the next, like, 15 seconds, then yeah, maybe there's actually potential. It will be 4-3. He would need to get a rapid-fire frag as soon as the respawn comes in, and the longer Tox delays, the less of a chance that actually is of coming to fruition. He's close behind him. This is probably the most awkward spot that Tox could be in, trapped inside a small enclosure, but it won't matter as he takes him down, beating his way through. Tox, GG has been called.
I think if there was a different weapon there other than the rail, the way that he moved into the room to hunt down Tox was genius. It is just the problem that he had to go with rockets or lightning gun to make it successful. He had the burst damage available with his orb, but yeah, really intense finish to that, but you could just see the amount of groundwork that Tox had done. It was just enough to secure the map. 48% LG, 66% rail. What is this guy?
Crazy, crazy stuff. Looking really quite flamboyant on the server right now, which I think both of us are probably quite excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's connecting with these shots and looking so confident, he's secured a 2-0. He's beaten av3k. This is someone I think that earlier on in the season he would have struggled against quite a lot, because av3k's actually been looking not too bad at all for as far as his own shape goes. But av3k now got to try and deny those 8 points. That's what it's up to.
Yeah. He does need to try and deny that, meaning that our third map really is going to be the dessert we expected at this point, because that was a meaty one. It had all of the nutritions in it, and then moving on, we are going to have something absolutely crazy to possibly just get us excited for the series going forward, as I imagine it will probably be like a nice vanilla ice cream style flavour.
You think so? We're not going full sorbet on this?
No. I think, well, that's a little bit too sweet.
Well, we do have Molten Falls, I believe, and I know that we've got Sorlag, just because Tox's champions are always so damn memorable that he's using. So can he get a 3-0? Tox hasn't had a lot of action like that during this online part of the season. I'm just happy that with the kind of shape that we're seeing from him, and it does feel like a flashback of history in terms of this is somewhat resemblant of some of the results that would have been happening in Quake 4. av3k just trying to chase after Tox furiously and just not quite getting there in the end. Things changed quite a lot later on.
Yeah, well, maybe things will change now as we get into the last point, the really last bolstering position here for av3k to do anything in this series if he is going to have a chance to step up and stop Tox from getting all of the 8 points, which would actually throw him into a crazy position in the standings when you think about it. Tox would probably be living his movie off the back of that win.
Yeah, I mean, Tox would be flying up. He won't be someone contesting for a top 4 spot to get straight into the quarters at Luca, but he's someone who's starting to get quite a nice seeding. And if there's maybe some players over in the Americas, they might be going, oh god, do I have to go against Tox? No matter who you are over there, you don't want to play Tox at the beginning. It doesn't matter what your name is. But here we are, guys. We got map 3. Tox have a chance to get a clean sweep versus av3k. Let's see what happens.
Well, we're into the mix. We're ready to kick this off. Let's see who is going to be taking it. If it will be a 2-1 or a 3-0 already. Tox getting nipped at from behind as av3k will pepper spray him on the exit there. Does chase him down as they battle over the Mega, but av3k will be the one to claim it, splitting the pickups 1 apiece at the minute.
Yeah, not too much drama. I'm trying to just zone out a little bit there. Building a bit of a read on av3k. Wasn't right, but, you know, testing out. Rockets on the lip of the bounce pad, not quite connecting with av3k. It's taking a lot of damage in the end. There's a huge amount actually done from av3k, but that rail right at the end stings.
Just damage traded between either champ at the minute. No frags actually marked up on the death note. As Tox starts to build up a little bit of speed here on the Sorlag. Let's see if he can pop off. The spit comes through, denies the pathway for av3k, so instead he has to back off. He'll do a bit of his own denial though, casting out the turret, and then firing off with a tri-bolt.
I'm sure he's looking for just some turrets or something there. It's like, where are you hiding them at the moment? We'll be mega up shortly. Tox isn't that confident to go in a fight as Sorlag. You really want to be at least full natural before you are being proactive. And especially when you've got a turret to go against, quite possibly. You're a big target. That turret's having an easier time against you. So expect quite a lot of DPS in your direction. But there's a heavy coming down. This Acid's not going to do much for him. Hasn't been able to get much effect from that ability. And it's only 5 seconds on the floor now. It used to be 10 seconds. So maybe some old habits die hard. Oh my god, wow. The lightning gun. it started hitting and it never stopped. That's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage. That is absolutely ridiculous. The fact he was able to be so precise with a weapon, just consistently tagging him up there and zapping him down until he was just a pile of dust on the ground. Wants to do the same again as well. Incredibly accurate Tox. 2 kills, 2 volts.
It's quite a difficult angle as well when you've got that sort of verticality. It's actually your opponent on the lower ground that's got the advantage, but it always looks like Tox has the advantage. He is hitting so much.
So the thing is, we thought this actually might be a little bit of a slower one, considering the Sorlag pick coming out, but he's still being able to keep a fairly matched tempo to what he had on the first 2 maps here. Building up momentum across the board, finally replenishes the rockets as well. He's got about 15 seconds before the Mega comes up. av3k should be able to claim the heavy, which he will.
av3k's been trying to feign some kind of a more defensive style than it actually is, because you can see that he's double backing, triple backing sometimes into fights, and he's trying to throw off Tox. But I think he's just ready for everything. He's waiting for that play to happen, and it's made av3k look a little bit silly, I'd say. Even though this is something that often works for him.
It's a bit rough though, because obviously Tox here, he's conceded both of the pickups this time around to av3k. He got the heavy, he then came over and stole the mega from right under Tox's nose. He's gone back for the following heavy as well. Tox, more importantly though, is the fact that he's still alive and he still has such a lead in terms of the kills. It won't matter if he can win the firefights, because then he can start to return to a dominant form. Grabs the mega, does an awful lot of damage to av3k, builds up some speed and starts to roam out. If he can defend here towards the heavy, he's in a really good spot.
Here's the tri-bolt. Trap, trap, trap. Oh, he's going to find him. av3k has no idea at all. He'll get himself the heavy. Is it going to be enough? He's trying to defend. He manages to get a rocket.
Oh, surely the rocket. Oh, Zoot.
I thought he may have gone for it, but it looked like he was hoping to pin it all on a rail. But you know what? It's still Tox that has an advantage in all of this. He won't be unhappy. He's got a lead, but you always want to extend it when you got that chance.
Well, it's 3-0. The amount of DPS he's been doing to consistently keep av3k low has been way higher. The damage over time as well ticking. He's getting so many ticks off with the Sorlag spit. That acidic stuff burns straight through the face of av3k.
The thing is, there's no chance for av3k to survive there. As soon as the acid hit him, there's no health bubble on that side of the map. He had sub 50 HP. He's got to somehow get over to the health bubble here to survive. So he kind of just goes up the bounce pad and forfeits his life.
Well, the turret kill.
A lot of damage there from av3k, actually. He might have found himself a way into the map. So he's going to have to be fairly aggressive off the spawn if he wants any benefit.
You got to fight this. This is your golden opportunity being served to you on a platter. The longer there is, the more time Tox has to try and scavenge these smaller pickups and slowly give himself more health to play with. 2 seconds until the mega's up. He's right by it. If he's timed this correctly, he can swoop in and steal it. However, av3k has his gaze set on it, and he will take it. Tox is in a horrible spot now for the following fight, Zoo.
Yeah, still looking a little bit sketchy for him, but that movement he has is helping a lot. And av3k is backing away. I would have liked to have seen a direct chase for a moment, but he's coming in from a different angle. And Tox will evade yet again. Incoming heavy. Tox sees it and is like, nope. Do not want to get involved with this. The thing is, av3k never went for it to begin with, but he's not aware that Tox is going to be moving around. So Tox now can back up and be like, okay, you didn't take heavy. I'm going to just niftily backwards strafe towards it. Check out my moves.
Tox really leading by example right now. He's in a good spot in terms of his stack. Armor slowly ticking down as he waits, listening out. Ears perked up, trying to hit any type of sound from av3k to have a good read on where he is. That's a free mega, so his stack is going to be incredibly large at this point. Not too much time left on the clock either, so if av3k is going to get back into it, he needs to start chiseling away and taking down Tox piece by piece very soon here, Zoo.
Yeah, he's just been struggling to catch him. I feel like av3k's had overall the right strategy, but sometimes he loses sight of it just at a critical moment when the opportunity really presents itself. Just when that Tox... It's not even that Tox is necessarily making a mistake, it's just something that looks like a mistake because kind of runs into the reverse thinking that av3k has, but then av3k doesn't punish that. So I'd say that's the mistake, if anything.
Not much time left on the clock at all at this point. Both of them with their abilities in play though, if they want to try and go into this, the Sorlag spit and the turret to play with. Hitting that 30-second mark, this is really going to be a bumpy ride for av3k.
I'm actually very surprised that Tox is even playing this defensively now. He really wants those 8 points. The thing is, he's so close to getting them, and you can tell that he's going this defensive because he's, you know what, I really need these. I really want... Oh no! Oh no.
You're joking!
He catches him at just the inopportune moment as he's jumping again and just gets sliced off the map.
Oh, I mean, the rail shot itself was lovely, but the fact that it's knocked him on the ring out. Oh,
so
that is
brutal.
Vile.
You know, that frag doesn't even matter compared to what we just saw.
Absolutely outrageous.
But it's another case where we see a good lead established, but you're playing against a high mobility champion and you're low mobility. This is the one reason why, you know, maybe champions like Aizen shouldn't really have pick rates as high as that. You know, I think although we see such high level skill in the QPL, I still think we're waiting for the drafting of the champions to reach the same level. Because I think in some instances we see high mobility versus low mobility, and it can really mess with things. Especially, it depends who's picking first, obviously, but if you're going against someone like Tox, you should be anticipating these types of champions.
Yeah.
And trying to make precautions for it.
Tox is now on a roll, by the way. He's got to the point where I think in his own mind he's like, okay, I've secured victory 100%. I can afford to start wiling out again and absolutely giving it, and that's just what he's doing. The rails have been on point. It's been so beautiful to witness as he is punishing av3k at every given opportunity, straight to the face as he blows him to bits.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing some rail accuracies. Oh my god. I don't know, I was questioning his use of Acid Spit earlier on, but it's been actually fantastic. After the first couple of minutes, so effective versus av3k. Interesting rocket jump. You can see the sort of creativity that Tox has with his movement, and just how fluent he is with it, and that's kind of just what I want to sell to everybody out there. If you're still getting to grips with your rocket jumps, I mean, Tox gives you a demonstration of the kind of awesome movement that is possible in this game.
Ooh. Tox finally could be losing his immortality streak here. Nope, he's going to get away with it. He pulls it off. The escape tactics work well, and Tox walks his way through very, very happily there. Not a single death for the man as he goes 10 to 1.
75% rail, I think we had.
Wow.
75% rail. I think it was 1,000 damage. That's a lot of rail. Yeah. What the hell? So I would not have expected a 3-0 from Tox. I could possibly see him winning 2-1, but I really firmly thought... I feel like we kind of just watched the Waz chain game from yesterday,
okay,
you know?
Yeah.
Waz takes a 3-0 kind of unexpectedly. Tox just looks so good there. And, you know, sometimes you've got just those favourable matchups. He seemed to know exactly what av3k wanted to do a lot of the time, and he had the damage output to deal with everything. When someone's hitting as hard as Tox, it doesn't matter who you are. Life gets very difficult at that point.
Yeah, he just countered everything so easily. Very confident in the majority of the plays that he went for. Also, just Sorlag looking so effectively utilized the entire time. The spit was on point, whether he was initiating or denying with it. It was all just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying his highlights at the moment, Jackie, if I'm honest. I might not be useful. Yeah, this is the point where av3k just... He's looking at the ground when he dies because he knows he's got nowhere he can go to. That Acid's taking his life at some point or another. And that blipped off the map.
See ya.
It was literally just as he jumped, but it was... He got railed just before jumping. Oh, I love it. Lovely, lovely jump production. Because you can't react to that. You're already either holding jump or you're pressing jump. You're getting ready to press jump, and you get railed. You've already thought that you're jumping. And then you can't move anyway. You're just flipped off the map. It reminds me, again, of what happened to Tox yesterday, but he kind of slipped off the map. We didn't get the same angles for it, but I feel like it was kind of along those situations.
It was probably quite similar, but that's rough. It's going to leave such a horrible taste in your mouth, right? And just... It's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but it is a fantastic display from Tox, showing the level of damage this man can still bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like we properly saw Tox today. And the thing is, I think we saw another level of him because he was willing to really be defensive when it mattered. And I think that's something that, at least in the first 4 weeks or so, that he was quite shy about doing. He kind of just... He just wanted to be aggressive. He mentioned too much his kind of natural self, but it didn't work in the way that has made him so successful at dueling. It was just kind of this raw energy, and now it's been organized in a really, really destructive way.
Nice. The powers of destruction working well for Tox there. Although the day is not done, and there is more exhilarating moments to carry on throughout the day here at the Faceit Studios. So we will be back after the break with more Quake Pro League action.